This is the Carl DeMaio Show. We're giving you the story behind the story. We're leading the fight to take back our state for a better California. So in our last podcast, we started talking about the 10 things that California Republicans can do to take back the state of California. You know how I like my 10-point plans. The first 5 points of our 10-point plan for improving how Republicans fight in California is, number one, we have to come up with better solutions, positive solutions, have a proactive issue agenda that covers the gamut of all the issues that people care about. Number 2, rapid response. When Democrats come up with bad ideas, which is on a daily basis, and when bad things happen that concern voters, which happens on a daily basis in California, we ought to be out in every media market responding. Number 3, hard work by candidates and elected officials. We should set goals for fundraising, goals for canvassing and constituent service and responsiveness in town halls. We need to make sure that our elected officials aren't just seat warmers, but they're actually out there helping build our infrastructure and expand our team. Number 4, ballot measures. Use local ballot measures and state ballot measures as a way of taking our ideas and putting them immediately into action. We can't really get things done in Sacramento at this point with the supermajority, but we can put things on the ballot and fight to see our ideas voted on by the voters. Also, local ballot measures provide a great opportunity for us to take in a region, take on some issues and put our ideas into action. Also, remember, ballot measures can be bad, and we can organize the opposition to local and state initiatives. Number 5, improving how we do voter contact. Going door to door, doing town halls, doing street fairs, doing storefronts. We got to connect with individual voters. You can't just sample or survey with polling. You've got to engage one-to-one. Those are the first 5 strategies. Let me talk about the other 5 strategies as part of my 10-point plan. Coming in at number 6, we've got to have better technology. The Democrats have databases. They use data analytics to run their campaigns, to store information, to share information. And so what I want to see us do on the Republican side is develop a voter database. And it's already in existence. We're using it. My campaign team has been using it for several cycles. That allows us to tag voters one by one. And it allows us to tag voters as a team. So it's not just Carl DeMaio's campaign finding out that a certain voter, let's say Mrs. Smith, who lives down the street, I found out that she's opposed to the gas tax, but that she is very concerned about the future of Medicare, and that she worries about plastic straws in the ocean, and she's really worried about the border and wants to build the wall. When I find that information out, I should be sharing that information as part of a database with the city council candidate running in that area, with the state assembly candidate, with the state senate candidate, with the dog catcher candidate. We need to know more about what our customers want from us. And that's where technology and data systems come in. We also need to be using technology to deliver our message. Yes, we go door to door. We stand in front of the stores the good old-fashioned way, but we also should be using online ads. We've got to go after cord cutters. We've got to be looking at how we use the cell phone more effectively, because that's where a lot of people are getting information these days, particularly the voters that we're trying to go after the most winnable voters. Technology has to improve in the Republican Party. We are running 1980 campaigns when Democrats are running 2020 campaigns. That has to be completely revolutionized. I think our campaign, the Carl DeMaio for Congress campaign, and before that, our Reform California efforts, showed that we were using technology in a bright and vibrant way, at least for Republicans. And it was very effective for us. And I want to share that model with all Republican candidates and get the help of the Republican Party in building these systems that everyone can benefit from. So improved technologies has to be one of the strategies, the 10-point strategies. Coming in at number 7, we have to have a better volunteer base, and we have to engage our volunteers. I actually believe that we have more volunteers out there willing to work. We're just not giving them assignments. I talk to Republican women clubs all the time, and they're saying, hey, what can we do to help? We have a luncheon once a month, and we sell T-shirts, and we do raffle prizes, and we have a guest speaker. But what else are we doing? What else can we do? And so what I want to do is find out how we can go out there and recruit volunteers, rebuild the precinct program, find people who are willing to do 1 2-hour shift of walking their neighborhood, taking their dog along for a walk, or getting the grandkid in a stroller and going door to door to hand out ballot pamphlets or door hangers, engaging people at the door in their neighborhood, or going into a campaign office and stuffing envelopes. In my campaign, we've been able to activate volunteers not only in my district, the 50th district, but throughout San Diego County, all the way up north to Santa Barbara, LA County, Orange County, Palm Springs, Riverside, Inland Empire. We are everywhere activating these volunteers, and they're eager to get involved. And I'm grateful that they're there. And they say, you're the first person, the first candidate asking us for help in a way that we actually can step forward and help. Most candidates say, give me money. Okay, fine. We know we'll talk about fundraising in a minute, but it's, can you help lend a hand? Can you be part of the foot soldiers? And then when we did the ballot measure, the recall against State Senator Josh Newman, collected signatures for that and collected signatures for the gas tax initiative, we had 30,000 volunteers get engaged and help us out. So the volunteers are out there. Republicans are not tapping those volunteers. And so part of volunteer management is, number 1, giving them assignments. Number 2, following up and communicating. So you have to have some sort of data system. Number 3, rewarding them. Giving them, a thank you party, a barbecue party. We do that a lot. Champagne brunches and barbecue parties. And then that leads me to the technology point. How about we develop an app where we can serve up information to our volunteers, insider information, keep them up to date on the various things and the message points that we are focusing on as a party. Keeping them up to date on the battle, keeping them up to date on what Sacramento Democrats are doing, and what our opponents are doing, but at the same time, then generating assignments for them to perhaps carry out. Whether it's do phone calls tonight, whether it's send emails, share stuff on social media, show up to volunteer at a shift at a street fair. All of that can be done through an app. And I know some people who are older don't like apps. Fine, we will get them the good old-fashioned way. But there's a variety of ways that we can step up how we engage and use our volunteers and grow our volunteer base. Most importantly, people have to know that there's a battle being fought, that they could actually pitch in, and that when they do pitch in, it makes a difference and that their contribution is valued. We need to talk about college students. That is strategy number 8. College students are needed for 2 reasons. Number 1, we've got to win those votes. We're not going to win perhaps a majority, but we cannot have the socialists in the school system brainwash our kids, because we're losing an entire generation of voters. But more importantly, we also need the workforce. We need those college kids and those high school kids to actually walk door to door. We need them to be part of our paid canvas program. They are our political operatives that we want to get involved in the battle. And so college programs need to be twofold: trying to win votes and win minds and hearts on college campuses to push back against socialism, but also utilizing that presence on college campuses to do recruitment. And so we're rolling out a great program that involves meetups for college students that are fun, parties, guest speakers, not just candidates from the surrounding area, but pretty provocative speakers that we can bring on college campuses to open people's minds and eyes. The more provocative, the better in some cases, because it generates buzz, it generates discussion. And then, of course, hire the kids, offer them jobs. Some of these kids need jobs. They don't want to work at Taco Bell, but they would be willing to work for a political campaign, and one that they actually agree with. And then, of course, we've got to show that it's actually a bigger movement than people suspect. Make it cool to be a Republican. If you want to be a rebel in today's age, you can't be a liberal. Everyone's a liberal in California. You got to be conservative. All right, coming up, I want to talk about 2 other big issues. One is raising the resources to do all this, and of course, voter fraud. That's coming up on the Carl DeMaio Show, but first, this message.
Carl DeMaio here. From rating our road improvement funds for bus and bike lanes to gas taxes and congestion taxes, politicians keep making it harder to drive. Traffic will only get worse unless we demand change. Join me, Carl DeMaio, by signing the petition at fixsandiegoroads.org.
Carl DeMaio thinks it's time to clean up the mess in Congress and take a new approach to solving problems. That's why Carl DeMaio is proposing the Fix Congress First plan. Make Congress live under the same laws the rest of us do. No special exemptions. Eliminate lavish congressional pensions and other perks. Force Congress to open up its own books and records to public review. Make Congress read the bills first before they vote on them. No budget, no pay. Permanently take away Congress's pay for every day the budget is late. If we want better results from Washington, we need to start by fixing Congress first. That's why it's time to help Carl DeMaio get his Fix Congress First plan enacted. Sign Carl's petition and help fix Congress first.
You're listening to the Carl DeMaio Show. We're talking about the 10-point plan that I think we should pursue to re-energize Republicans in California. They can step up their game in the fight to take back our state. We talked about college students, volunteers, and technology in our last segment. Let's talk about these final two things of our 10-point plan, and then I'll do a recap. Coming in at number 9 is that we have to stop voter fraud, because we can run the best campaigns, but if Democrats keep stealing the elections, it doesn't matter what we do. And so stopping voter fraud, and I have an entire episode of the Carl DeMaio Show that's dedicated to this topic that you can get in our previous episodes. But stopping voter fraud is a two-point process. Number one, we've got to cleanse the voter rolls. The voter rolls have been filled by the Democrats with illegal immigrant voters, ineligible voters, and duplicate voters, okay? It's not just illegal immigrants. It's people getting 2 or 3 ballots because, number one, they're allowing illegal immigrants to register to vote with no verification. That's part of the motor voter process, as well as the welfare laws have been changed in California to require that you add in a voter registration form in any sort of public assistance application. And, you know, people are given those forms and the case manager says, fill all these out. So a lot of illegal immigrants, not knowing, not intentionally, have filled out or have been registered to vote without their knowledge. Then they get a ballot in the mail and they think, oh, well, I guess since government's sending this to me, I should fill it out. Or someone knocks on their door and says, hey, can I get your ballot as part of ballot harvesting? And that's the second part. Ballot harvesting of these duplicate ballots and these ineligible ballots. They're all floating out there. And then what happens? The Democrats say, let's go door to door like a Hoover vacuum machine and suck up the ballots and fill them out. You and I both know that the ballot harvesting led to several seats flipping in the days after the 2018 election from Republican to Democrat. And so we need to audit the vote by cleansing our voter rolls first and foremost. If you don't have proof that the person is an eligible voter, you should request that. And if they don't send it to you, they should basically be purged. If they want to re-register by providing the accurate information, fine. Everyone who's legally entitled to vote should be able to vote, and every legal vote should count. We should not only ballot harvest on our side, on the Republican side, but we should be truth testing and policing the ballot harvesting process and practices of Democrats. If they step out of line, if they fill out ballots, they've broken the law, we should turn that over to the Department of Justice at the federal level for prosecution. We got to get integrity back in our elections. Another thing that we have to do to get integrity in our elections is we've got to fix the ballot titles so that they're accurate. When you saw what they did on Proposition 6, the gas tax repeal, they changed the title. They stole the election by removing any reference to gas tax repeal in the initiative. These people are liars, thieves, and cheats, and the media has allowed them a pass on this. We've got to get ballot title integrity so that on the initiative side of these races that we have clean and honest elections. But voter integrity, voting integrity, election integrity is so crucial that the Republican Party be on top of this. I personally would like voter ID so that when you walk in and get your ballot, you have to show an ID. If you have to show ID to buy cigarettes or liquor, I think it is reasonable to ask that you show an ID to cast a vote for people who are going to be changing laws that affect our pocketbooks and our freedom. So number 10, raising funds. You notice how I left fundraising to the very end? Here's why. It doesn't matter at the end of the day if you have a bad plan. You could raise a lot of money. If you have a bad plan, you're wasting money. You should only get money if you've done the first 9 things I just laid out. If you've got a program in place to do the 9 things, then we should invest our dollars into your plan for success. And so fundraising is important. Having the resources will be important. The Republican Party in California has done fundraising. National Republican Party has done fundraising, but most of that money that the National Party raises goes outside of California. It doesn't come back here. And the California Republican Party fundraising has been mainly focused on big dollar donors. We've got to get back to the grassroots donor. Start treating the $5 donor as important as your $5,000 donor, and you're going to get a lot of $5 donors. And that will all add up. In my campaign, we've shown that. Over 30,000 contributors, individuals who are giving an average of $64. And that's powering our campaign. We don't have the fat cats backing us. It's a grassroots funded effort. And so if I can do this for one congressional seat in California, imagine what we can do across the state of California. The money is here. People are willing to invest. We just have to reach them, treat them with respect and value, and lay out a plan, the 9 points I just laid out, and ask for an investment in executing that plan. Now, the fundraising needs to be done the same way the Democrats do it. It can't just be through direct mail. It's got to be email, text, online, digital, in person. All of these things are areas where the Republican Party has lagged behind. The only guy who's gotten it down is the president. President Trump has created a fundraising machine. And that's because people know that he has a plan and that he ran a great campaign in 2016. The presumption he's running as I see right now, it looks like he's running a great campaign in 2020. So you got to show people the plan that they're investing in first and foremost. So let's recap the 10-point plan for California to win. Number 1, the Republican Party has to get an issue agenda that's positive, bold, and touches on the issues that people care about. Number 2, the Republican Party has to have rapid response every day on issues as they come up. When Democrats step in a pile of dog dung, we have to shine a light on it. Do a press conference and say, see what they just did, and here's our solution to make it better. When something happens outside of politics, a news development, that there's a wildfire or the utility company shuts off the lights, we should say, hey, hold on, this is bad. We have a better solution. And it has to be done in each region because we have 7 separate media markets. Third, hard work by candidates and elected officials. They need to not be seat warmers or elected officials who just go up there for the title. They need to work their tails off like the Democrats do. Number 4, use ballot measures to take our ideas and put them into action and engage in a street fight on the issues that people care about. Number 5, engage voters one-on-one. Voter contact and ballot harvesting, door-to-door, street fronts, storefronts, and town halls, among other areas. College students, getting out and recruiting them, volunteers, recruiting them and engaging them, using better technology, stopping voter fraud, and raising the resources to do all of the above. That's the 10-point plan. And I know we can do it. At least in my campaign, we've been trying to do each of these items, and I think we're doing a decent job of showing that if you have candidates who are able to make progress on these 10 items, you can do a lot, and it can affect races, and it can confound the media. The media is still wondering, how is he raising this much money, and how is he leading in the polls, and how does he have these many people at these town halls? Well, we're doing these 10 points in my campaign. I invite you to join that campaign so that we can make it such a great success that other Republicans in the state of California want to copy it. All you have to do is go to carldemaio.com, carldemaio.com, sign up, donate. Our average donation is $64, but even $5 helps power us forward. And share our website and share this podcast with all your friends. Have them sign up at joincarldemaio.org or carldemaio.com. That does it for this podcast. We'll pick it up next time. Thanks. This podcast was paid for by Carl DeMaio for Congress. I'm Carl DeMaio, and I approved this message.